Students, teachers, wardens, caretakers, minions of the Infernals, and all peoples of the sun-swept lands, welcome to Book of Dawn, IOTH Academy. I am tormented by gnomes, your game master. Joining me today is Lemon Kiwi, and also Lemon Kiwi. Lemon Kiwi, how are things?
I'm not used to having to talk first. Crowley, where are you? It's going good. Miss my friends, but I'll try not to burn the school down while they're gone.
I'm sure. How much damage could you possibly do in 3 hours? Crowan's moving, and Legs was blowing up his computer or something along those lines. But that is okay, because for once we are actually at the greatest institute of magical learning in the Four Kingdoms instead of in the middle of 3 different dungeons and 2 different planes of existence. So that should give you, Garnet, some time to actually move around the academy and do academy stuff. Before we get started, and I do a quick recap to bring us back up to speed, any questions or immediate concerns?
No,
Okay,
not yet.
all right. When last we left our heroes, Garnet, Athalor, and Mantra had just discovered the current location of the Sage, suspended and lost somewhere between worlds, tangled up in the power of the extra-dimensional resonance that keeps Athalor's home suspended between 2 realities. Haunting her and hounding her is Despair's Herald, seemingly ripped from his body, existing only as a malevolent shadow hovering about her, prying at the corners of her mind, but from what you were able to tell, she remained steadfast. Garnet suggested getting the Herald's attention in order to buy the Sage time to make good her escape. This is a major decision, this is a heavy choice, and so our heroes have gone their separate ways before the evening falls upon the academy to further contemplate this and to spend time with their loved ones and minding their own business now that they're back from the Battle of Defraxis. Garnet, after Athalor goes back to his room and Mantra goes back to Sventisko, I think they had a date tonight. Yeah, they had a date tonight. They were going to talk. Which leaves you alone here in the late afternoon. You have a number of things on your mind and a number of different business to attend to. What would you like to do?
Is the business revolving dinner time hours?
It is, assuming there's nothing else you want to do before then, yes.
Depends. Is Mantra like on his way to go see Sven?
I think you could probably intercept her if you needed to. I mean, he's not here to say otherwise, so, screw him.
Yeah, I do want to see her before they meet,
Mm-hmm.
ideally.
Okay. Where would you like to set this scene?
Good question, because now I don't have my notes. I'll probably just go to her room.
Okay.
Or see if I can bump into her in the hallway.
Which would you prefer? Narratively, we can definitely do either.
In her room.
Okay. Cutting off Mantra, who has some business to take care of with the orb that the 3 of you still have absconded with, that once belonged to Rednop, the Master of Divination. You manage to work your way into Tarsamore Hall, find your way through the doors, past the students and the wardens, and give a knock at Sventisko's door. When she arrives, with her hair braided, pulled back, the back of her head shaved, just sort of cleaning up, those turquoise eyes are surprised to see you. It's not hard to tell that she was expecting someone else, but your presence is not unwelcome. She'll go ahead and Garnet twice in one day. I should be so lucky.
Is there like a hint of sarcasm there?
Roll an insight check.
Ah, shit.
A 19. Let's call it wry humor rather than sarcasm. Not that she's upset to see you, but that she finds it vaguely amusing that this is twice that you have interfered with her time with Mantra. But there's no malevolence there. It's more just sort of like, yeah, all right.
Can I commit
Mhm.
for just a minute? I know maybe you have a date. I just wanted to chat real quick.
She'll let you in and close the door behind you.
Just kind of looks around the room if she should stand or sit somewhere. Just is like trying to be polite.
She'll
Not like
sit
she
on the
usually
bed
is.
and gesture at the chair that's at her table, also at her desk. Also at her desk is a metal frame with water flowing across it, in which you can see your reflection. These have been distributed throughout the school recently because they seem to avoid the risk of the Mirror Keeper's magic, while still allowing the wielder to see themselves.
I guess she gets excited and goes over and like checks her hair and makeup and stuff because she's got a date soon and it's like satisfied with the work she's done without a mirror and just uh sits on the chair. I just wanted to thank you for coming with me on that little journey.
Yeah, we did good. You did good. We did good.
Yeah, why didn't you want to stay with Mason?
How does she want to put this? Let's see. 17. I should turn off talk to myself. All right, I'm going to roll that again. In front of God and everyone. A 16. Good enough. I thought I could be more useful with you. That's where the need was most urgent. I didn't think that you should go alone. I thought that you should have help. I know Mantra was going to stay behind to help people the best way he could. And I think it's important for us to work together.
Yeah, I agree. It was great to hear from you about the Botholo situation. Tell me just how do you feel about us being Brontha, Botholo?
You mean like you, Garnet, and me? Or like the places
No,
we come from? No, not like that.
the
It's
nations. Ah, it
not
just is
not
like
not
face
that,
palming.
not that isn't to say that you're it's okay. I just had to clarify. All right. No, I mean that's kind of a big question. Where do you want me to start?
Um, it just didn't sound. It didn't sound like you held just so much resentment towards me or towards Brontha, and you were seeming like you wanted a solution to all this, which being in your position, I would want not that. I would want the opposite.
Okay. This isn't your fault, and I don't hold this against you. But my mom died because you were missing. Those Phoenix Knights wouldn't have been in our lands if they weren't looking for you. But that's not your fault. That's someone's fault. People made decisions that caused harm, that were wrong. And that has to be healed. It can't just be ignored. But this is a lot bigger than just me and my feelings. And I can be angry without being foolish about it.
Yeah, that's really mature of you. I, could learn a lot about that. Um, but I'm not really pleased about the situation either. I, held a lot of guilt about this, all of that, everything that's happened to you happening because I went missing and because I was at IOTH and I didn't come out immediately. when I was free. But at the time I acted with the information that I had, and I don't hold that guilt anymore, but rather want to have a vision of a better Brontha, a better future for all of us. And I joked around with you when we were together about, my big aspirations, as I have many of those, but I wasn't happy that Brontha resorted to violence so quickly when when my father was around, and I think in the place of the king, he would have opened discussions and he would have convinced everybody to look for me with them. And I don't know why so much bloodshed had to happen. And I feel like my mother, although she did the things that she did, and it was horrible, and she doesn't deserve forgiveness from you or from the people she's harmed. I feel like she was encouraged to do so because she was always a knight first and a mom second. And I feel like a good king would have not want that, and I feel like he pushed her buttons to maybe flex power, that Brontha got hit by the Infernals, and we, had to prove as a nation that we would not be struck down, and we went and did all that to maybe for a bigger cause than just fighting me.
Give me a persuasion check, please, Garnet. 11. Okay. Are you satisfied? Are you going to let that ride?
I seem to be out of all luck dice, so, yeah. I could probably throw a debate die on there if you'll
That
allow
is
it.
true. Well, you just got 3 lucky dice from chat, and you have an
Oh,
inspo from last session.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Why
then
don't you add that inspiration so I can clear it from the channel points queue? Just put that on your character sheet. You can hold on to that.
cool. I'll use the Electa, I guess.
All right.
Thank you, chat.
A 22. Okay. Sven is listening with a restraint that would have been completely out of place when you first met her, and she couldn't keep her mouth shut for more than 2 seconds and had to be the one asking all the questions. I mean, I don't know about all that. I wasn't there. I haven't talked to those people. I don't know what was going on in their heads, but I know it's important for you to know those things, so maybe that's the case. I don't think vengeance is going to solve problems. I think we can get justice without it. And
I think change would be a great part of preventing that from ever happening again.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's the king's fault?
And she kind of hesitates because she's like, talking shit about the king is probably not a very Bronson thing or a very good thing to do at all. I just don't think my father would have done those decisions. And it's more that I regret and still think about his passing and what could have been. And how I would just hope that the king in the future would not resort to violence as a first choice. But I know we're in a time where peace is not exactly easy or affordable.
Well, regardless of what it is you think you're going to end up doing when we grow up, I bet if you talk over there, people will listen, right?
Yeah. They listened to me when we went to a vote about how Brontha should proceed, at least in the recent future. But I wanted to less about what I want for change and how I don't want violence, but it's about fixing and about how can we go forward. And I wanted to talk to you about that as someone who's been hurt the most out of this.
She sits for a moment and thinks about it and idly runs her hand through her hair, one strand of which, a bright shining strand, is now living copper growing out of her head, braided in with the rest of it. Something that
Is that
she's had.
new?
Um, not new. It is new ever since she went to Botholo. And you would have noticed it earlier. This would not be taking you by surprise. You just spent a few hours with her, etc. So it's relatively new, but not completely unknown. I've been thinking about it, and I don't think I can say for sure until I've gone home. Because I got out. You know, you and I, we both ended up here. And that's put me kind of far away from the people who didn't get out, who stayed behind, who still got hurt and then didn't go off and learn magic. So I have to talk to them. But I think that if Brontha destroyed and killed, then the fix for that would be to build and heal. And I think that if they can rebuild what was harmed in their absence and bring it back better, give to those people in those villages and those my clan and other clans, then I think that we can all call it good.
And she walks over and kneels down to kind of clasp both of her hands and look into her eyes, like kind of meaningfully, and just almost happy that there's even a sort of solution being discussed right now. I am ready to give you any gold that you want. Uh, Inheritance, yours to rebuild the city, and I might not be in a position to make decisions and better ones, but I can be there to challenge the wrong decisions. And your support, Atholot's support, if you guys are behind me and if peace is on our minds, then I see us continuing to maintain that until the right people learn or better people get in charge.
All right. Up in the top right corner of the screen, the words Bothotlo approves appears. Or Sventisko approves. She gives you a bright, confident smile, and that would mean the most. Not your, you didn't do it, not your money, but just being there to speak up for the people who can't. Yeah. Yeah, I think with you and me, I think both of our homes are going to be okay.
Is there anything else that you would want?
I think I need to go home again for a while. Her demeanor changes slightly. It's less careful and thoughtful and almost reminiscent of the more spontaneous, blabbermouthy kindergarten Sventisko. I was meaning to wait until later to talk about this. It's why Mantra and I, but I'm like, I don't know. Do I want to spend 2 more years here? Because it's probably good. Because, you know, I met you and there's so much going on, and the people out at the in the refugee city, I can't leave them alone. But also, if I really want to know how to fix things, I have to go back and I have to talk to all the people back there, and then I have a duty to them. And I can already, just even now with what I've learned so far, I could start changing things and I could start bringing people together. And there's so much work to do that I just don't know if I should stay here or not.
She just like waits patiently for her to be done, like still holding her hands, like
Mm-hmm.
listening intently. And well, I think you should go if you think you're prepared to handle all of those things. But I think something this academy has taught both of us is, well, a lot of knowledge, of course, offensive, defensive, critical thinking, and just how to deal with stress. Remember your nightmares you used to tell me about, and ones I experienced too? I felt like being around people that experienced similar things really taught us how to overcome them. And I think a lot of people that are like you are here. And Mason, my mantra wants you here and I want you here. But I want what's best for you, and if helping Bathotlo is where you think you belong, then I support it.
Thanks. It just seems like we've already done so many things and we've been almost killed so many times. And if I wait a couple more years, is it going to do more good for me to wait and to learn those things like you said? Or have I learned enough and it's time to start making a difference with that? Because so much stuff has already happened this year. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 2 years?
Well, you came back from Bathotlo with like a medal. What is this? A hair accessory? Is that in?
Her a sense of reverence that you haven't really seen in her mellows her for a moment. As she nods and she says, when we were there and Mantra helped us catch a mirror clone on the tribal council, we had help, the two of us. Did he talk to you at all about that?
Out of character, I don't remember. I don't think
out of character, I also don't remember, so it's safe to say no.
I'll say no.
Okay, that's, it was kind of private. So there was this kid, a boy, maybe a little older than us, who was trying to annoy Mantra, and thought flirting with me was going to get him annoyed, which obviously he doesn't know Mantra, so. But he asked us about what happened to Orn.
Ooh. And what'd you tell him?
The truth.
That's fair.
Which was good because he was Bathotlo.
The boy?
Yes.
Was he upset about Orn dying?
I mean, yes, but not it's our fault upset. And we told him the truth. We did what we had to. It was an awful thing, killing one of the 10 gods, but I mean, he had it coming.
How do you know not all your other dragons are void infernal conspirators?
I mean, I don't.
Are the dragons friends with one another?
They're family. They're family. And family's very hard. But Thotlo went off to talk with the rest of his family and left me. She reaches up her hand with this.
Can I do an Arcana check, or would I have no idea what this is?
You can do an Arcana check. Hot diggity dog. That is a draconic gift, which is when a dragon imbues a mortal with a portion of their power. The more powerful the dragon, the stronger the gift can be. And this is a gift directly from the dragon god of the Copper Dragons.
Holy cow! Do you understand what that is? I'm sure you do, but do you? You're very calm about this, and you haven't told any of us. Not that you have to, Miss God? Do God? Oh my God.
No. It's not like that. It's not like that. But this is one of the reasons I'm thinking about going back, because I have a duty now. I mean, I did before, but now I really have a duty. I need to go back and I need to help them. It's a gift, and I have to be grateful. And I know I can too. I know that if I go back and I talk, they're going to listen.
I I understand, and I don't know the state that Othalor is in right now, but I do know that IOTH Academy has suffered a lot. We're barely holding back Defraxis, and I know everyone is very pleased about our mission, but if I'm honest with you, I don't think the job is done. They still have war machines, and now they're just angrier. And IOTH Academy has a lot more defenseless people, I feel like, and we don't have dragons, and we barely have a dome holding us together, and a guy that's not here to maintain it, and an archmage that's very new to the job. uh, Bless her soul. So I just, if if I had to pick, I would say I'm staying here because I feel like IOTH Academy needs my protection when I relate to feeling like I have a duty back home and how I should have went back home when I was free and when I knew that my family was actually looking for me, but I feel like the academy needs a lot of fixing and a lot of protection, and I'm confident that I can go back to Brontha when they need me, and maybe you can bounce between the 2 like I do.
I just don't know if the Academy needs a fifth-year sorceress more than it needs an advocate. Because you're right, we don't have dragons here. But my people do. And if they listen to me, they are. I know you stopped them, but the Bothotlos Slayers are nothing to be trifled with. And if they were helping us against Defraxis, I just think I feel like that would be more useful than just me. Even to all the people here who need help. I haven't talked with Mantra yet, and I haven't decided yet. I'm just thinking about it, you know?
Yeah. Well, you seem like you really wanna go, and I don't think Matra's gonna hold you back either. So this'll be your decision, but I hope that kind of pulls out her sending stone, and can't remember how this is programmed. I hope we can keep in touch because 'cause I'd love to hear about how Batholo's doing and how we can rebuild
Of course.
and
Of
how we can
course.
support each other and how I can keep you updated on Brontha if anything relates to your tribe. I hate to see you go, but I know you'll do great things wherever it is you end up.
She reaches out to give you a hand squeeze and says, "Of course I won't be a stranger. You're not going to be able to get rid of me."
Yeah. Maybe you can bring back some stuff to make Mantra a dragon again. I know he really missed doing that. That could be a great birthday present.
Yeah, I could. She blushes
Okay.
slightly.
Okay. Well, have fun with the kind of stands up after kneeling and stretches her knees a bit. Well, I got a date of my own. So good luck with yours, I guess.
You look great.
You too. It kind of goes back to fix her, like get some like little strands, like
Mm-hmm.
okay. Yeah, I'll be kind of sad. I wonder if Mantra's gonna be sad, and I would be sad if he's sad. But I don't know a lot about him, and I would like to know more about my teammate. And sometimes I don't think he tells me everything, and that's fine. He's a secretive kind of guy. But I was really sad when he didn't come with me, and his girlfriend did, and also you're my friend, but if there's something I'm doing wrong and he's not telling me, could you just encourage him to open up to me? Because I know I'm scary, but for him, I would try to be normal and talk.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Just bye. Just heads out awkwardly.
All right. Where to next? The hallway out here seems very empty, even though the hubbub of the school is still floating not too far away out in the eaves. There's just kind of a quiet moment where only shadows cross the walls.
Just quietly heads back to her room and waits for, I think Cyrus said he was going to pick her up, so just is going to tidy her room and just find different like casual poses to be in when he walks in, to not look like she's waiting and she's like overthinking it and what to say.
All right. Right on time, you get a knock at the door.
Kind of does like a jog, but then there's a quiet slow down and opens the door.
He is dressed in white, which for Brontha is either like religious garbs or just fancy occasion, white with sort of gold accents, a little bit of red here and there, not a single wrinkle on anywhere, just like completely pristinely dressed. Nice shoes, hair perfectly set back, moisturized, just absolutely put together.
Not the skincare.
And
she's just stressed. She's like, you got so dressed. Wow. And just is looking how she's still in her uniform and just thought it was way more casual. Panicked face.
Sorry, do you want me to change?
No, I should change. Do you want me to change?
I don't want you to change.
Okay, I won't. Thanks. For just like opens the door and it's just like so flustered.
Pulls out a bouquet of those glowing fire flowers, those Bronthan glowing fire flowers from behind his back, and offers it to you.
Yeah, jaws just dropped and where'd you get these? Oh my god! And takes them and smells them if they're smelly.
Yeah, they have a scent. It's rich, almost like not as sweet as a honeysuckle, but in the same sort of territory. But it has this side effect where it kind of almost has a like a wasabi hit. Not nearly as strong as horseradish or wasabi, but just a little bit of that. Like this is a fire flower. Clears the sinuses.
Oh,
he looks slightly concerned, just like hoping you didn't just take too much of the pollen in at once.
Just like rubs her nose a bit and finds somewhere to put it. Thank you so much. Where to?
I was thinking the Grove.
Oh, I haven't been there in so long. All right.
Perfect. He'll offer you his arm, and he'll go ahead and start walking out through Tarsilmore as the sun is setting, and it's a bit of a walk all the way there.
Just like a happy walk, and she's very just lightened up around him and is smiling all the time and much happier than she's been in a long time.
He is whenever he's not like just watching his own feet to make sure you're not tripping over the various stairs and stuff, he's looking at you out of the corner of his green eyes, and you can see that he's happy. He's kind of the happier you are, the more he kind of smiles, little twist around the edges of his lips. And he's a better conversationalist than I am, but one of the things that he wants to know is how hungry you are.
Oh. And she doesn't feel hunger, so should I just
doesn't know that.
Deception?
Yeah, go ahead.
I say like, yeah, like, I'm very hungry for I saved, I am hungry, yeah. Finch is gonna stutter exactly like that through it.
Well, that's okay. That's completely fine. Don't worry about it. It's not an issue. He roll insight for me.
Oh.
Seems to have just sort of paused, and he seems casual about it. It's probably fine, right? Right? Probably not an issue. But aside from just being happy and glad to be around him, oh hey, the light of the pearl now shines upon you. You get advantage on insight and wisdom saves for 1 hour. Go ahead and give me
Oh, it's the same.
literally, just another 13. All right, cool. That's fine. That's understandable. Have a nice day. All right. Yeah, he's probably fine. But as he makes his way down, what sort of mood or light conversation or heavy conversation or no conversation is Garnet in the mood for? Is she leading at all? Is she bringing anything up on her own? Is she letting him lead the conversation?
Probably after some small talk, if it's
Mm-hmm.
just like whatever related, like life stuff, then she'll probably ask eventually, like, I hope I didn't worry you at all. I'm sorry for crashing in your room after not seeing you for a little bit. I just got back from the mission, and all I could think about was trying to see you again.
Okay. He is almost stammers for a moment. That hit him where it doesn't hurt, but that hit him. Well, my the only reason that I'm here is to learn how to tend to people who are protecting us and Brontha. So you gave me a chance to do that. So you don't have to apologize at all. It's fine. It's okay. It's completely okay. I was happy. I was happy to see you. I'm glad you came to see me.
And I'm glad you took care of me and respected me, my space while I was passed out on your floor. So embarrassing. But I hope I didn't snore or keep you up, but I appreciate you tending to me.
Well, the real measure of that is how are you feeling now? You seem to be feeling better.
Uh, yeah, bit by bit. A lot has happened with the mission to Diffraxis, and I'm still dealing with it. How do you feel about everything that's happened at the Academy and Diffraxis?
I think you know a lot more than I do, honestly. It's not a secret that the three of you are in the Spire a lot. Um, so I assume that you're in on more of the plans and you know more about the scale of everything that's happening. It sounds like good news to me. It sounds like maybe there won't be wounded to treat down in the Undercroft, but I really don't know for sure. Are you allowed to talk about it?
Uh, with you, yeah. She kind of is like smirks and
Riz successful.
Is there anything you want to know about any of that or me?
About any of that? Yes. About you? Yes. What's something I don't know?
Well, that's a that's a cheap question. Be specific.
Okay, fine. What's the most beautiful place you've ever been?
Well, Brontha, of course. Is this a quiz? Am I getting tested?
Where in Brontha, though?
Well, Garden's back home. The most peaceful place, but there's lots of places I could name, and out of character, I could
You
probably
would know.
list
Yeah, that's
a
fine.
bunch of different nice
What do they have in
landmarks.
common? Like, again, you don't have to know
Flowers,
all the actual
probably.
flowers.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Cyrus's confidence is boosted by the fact that he brought you flowers. Yes. Got it. I grew up outside the walls, actually, a lot closer to the desert, away from the 7 springs that feed our city. And the sights and smells and people and the light in the temples shining through the windows, that's all beautiful. But there is a light, and there are shades of burning color in the desert when the sun rises and again when it sets that I haven't seen anywhere else.
That sounds beautiful. We should go sometime.
How soon do you think it's going to be safe?
Now that's a good question. Um, well, from a few dozen war machines that Diffraxis had, we've managed to take out all but a small handful. There were separate missions, so the details of the ones I wasn't on kind of blurry to me as we're still just gathering ourselves the day after. But hey, they're down at least 100 units just from my side of things. And they seem pretty weak right now. But I'm always cautious when they still have people alive and war machines, and now they're angrier. So I'm a little bit more wary than the others, but the others are very confident that we're okay now.
Well, they're the enemies of all of us for no good reasons whatsoever. Oh, I mean, angry, less angry, they're always going to be horrible.
Yeah. Ramtha was angry when I disappeared, for good reason. I just,
Mm-hmm.
still trying to help Brontha through the repercussions, though, of how they interacted with Bathotlo. I was wondering how you felt about that.
Hmm. Well, I was actually in the seminary when all of that happened. Originally, I was going to be a priest, but so I didn't hear as much about it. But I know that people were hurt, and I know people were killed, and I know that Zalar's fire burns and it also heals. And so it seems that it would be wholly within the Sunrider's power and within Brontha's means to heal any wounds that we've inflicted.
Yeah. And she kind of like squeezes his arm while they're like still
Mm-hmm.
walking. And I didn't want to talk about the bad stuff. I just thought it could be. I just wanted to connect more. I sometimes don't think I connect with others or that people really know me sometimes. And do you think you know me, Cyrus?
Not as much as I'd like, not as much as I hope to, but I think we're off to a good start.
She kind of like leans her head over and,
Mm-hmm.
well, I like when you worry and when you protect me and take care of me when I crash into your room, and you make me like being treated like a princess. She kind of kisses him on the cheek.
I'm going to roll a save against stun lock for him. But I'm going to make it a Riz save instead of a wisdom save. Oh, nope, he beefed it. He fails to be smooth, but succeeds in being obviously delighted. And he does not immediately have a witty rejoinder for you.
And we'll just smirk and continue walking until we get to the grove or whatever else he wants to talk about.
You get to the grove, and the conversation can be similar. The thing about Cyrus is that he's smart. All right, he is very, very smart. And so when you talk about, and again, he can probably convey this better than I can, but when you talk about serious topics and like these more meaningful, big world philosophical things, that's his space. That's where he operates. He connects with you better there than in idle chit chat. So when you say that you have difficulty like connecting with people, and that's exactly where he is as well. So he resonates very, very thoroughly with that. He's probably the least witty of the three Bronthen boys. Not again, the smartest, but not necessarily the wittiest. That being said, he leads you through the familiar wooden buildings of the grove, past a couple of the caretakers who give the two of you a suspicious eye. And he does his best to, be the pious, oh, I'm a good kid, don't worry about it. He leads you into the forest where you go off the path, and up ahead you see a light. There is a fire already burning. There are two chairs already set out, and a Bronthen rug already set out. And there is a rack of lamb roasting over the fire.
Oh,
and
shit.
There's a spread actually set out. Like the meal's already put out there. Roll an Arcana check.
God damn. I'm just like, whoa. Oh my god, all of that is, and she's just jaw drop, like amazed.
Yeah. Boy can cook. And so he will go ahead and pull out your seat, even though there's no table for you to have to like sit at. But he'll go ahead and like offer you your seat, and then just start serving the meal. He's got cutlery. He obviously prepped this thing today while you were going about other, like, since you saw him in his room to now, this is what he's been working on.
Oh my god, this is so much work. Thank you. Taste it, and
yeah, it's all good, and it's all flavors of home. It's all like traditional Bronthen fare. The lamb is tender and it's well spiced, and it's got some, not black currant, but like pomegranate glaze on it that he made with the plants that grow back home. He obviously had all this stuff imported. He's got a couple of cups of a hot spiced tea, and he's got a couple of different, with each course, there's a spread of appetizers, some various dips that have been made with ingredients from home, and little pastries that he made, and there's a different drink with each. There's some fruit juice with this course, and there's some tea with this course, and it's all pretty good. You've had palace food. This isn't like, Cyrus is not a royal chef, but he's, for a like 15, 16-year-old kid, he did a really good job. Apparently alchemy has transferable skills over into cooking.
That's true. She's like blushing the whole time because she probably hasn't had like a guy cook for her, and it's way different because I'm sure at the palace it's like chefs, and it's not even like her parents, I would say, are probably cooking. So there's not like that love part of someone hand making this for you and putting so much thought into it. So she's just like, when the food is so good, there's no conversation. That's when it's good food, and that's her just eating. And if he wants to talk, then she would, but
he's comfy with silence. He's comfy with silence. He's not like super antsy when there's no conversation going on.
Oh, I actually never asked. Are you reporting to Brontha at all? Are you talking to Brontha, sending news, sending letters?
He shakes his head.
Are you talking to friends that may do that?
You sound like you're worried about something.
I just feel very watched all the time when it comes to the Bronthens, and I understand. I just want to know who's watching and who's writing about it, you know?
Okay. I'm not writing about anything. Back when we found out you were alive, we all talked. We all talked a lot. I mean, it was a miracle. We're living through. Anyways, but when you and I talk, I respect that. That's for us, and that's. I don't want to invade your privacy or open any doors up to anyone else who you haven't explicitly chosen to include.
Well, I'm glad we can keep our secrets, especially just things that have happened to me, crashing into your room. I feel like that would worry people, my mom. So I'm glad that the fact that she's not at my doorstep right now is, I believe you. Um, I feel like you're I don't want to say you're holding back, but you haven't asked me really important questions.
Okay, like what?
Um,
Or do you not want to tell me you want me to think of them? Is that
well, if you think of anything, I just want to make sure that everything's out on the table before I just go on.
oh, um I mean there's lots of things that I don't know. And there's a lot of questions that I have. But you have enough classes, enough people asking you questions already, right? I wasn't going to. I didn't want to bother you. I don't want to bother you. I don't want to pry. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Um, well, this food's great. And just like felt like there was more to say there and just continues eating.
Mhm.
And she's like enjoying the food, but you can tell that her eyes are just like focused on like something out in space and she's just like
Mhm.
deep in thought as she's like eating.
Okay. 22 from our boy here. Oh, chat. Chat, 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 chat. Oh, chat. Okay, before I appease the chaos gremlins, I need to resolve this piece right here. So, what's going on inside of Cyrus's head, regardless of whether or not,
Trying to figure out women.
yeah, yeah, he's weighing two things back and forth. And again, this is not something that he's saying to Garnet yet. He's saying, "Am I supposed to be like?" I have questions about her connection to Zalar, my god, and the things that she's experienced. And I also have questions about Garnet, the girl I like. And if I ask the wrong thing, she's probably going to be upset and sad. So which one is she? So there is going to be a moment of quiet as he tries to parse through that. He got a 22, so I'm going to have him proceed unless you say something first.
There's a good like minute that goes by.
Yeah, I'd say a
So
minute
like
goes by.
she'll finish her bite because she'll probably assume after a minute that he's not going to say anything, or is just, took her, hey, this food is good, as a let's not have deep conversations.
Mhm.
And then as she finishes her plate, I assume, probably had a small
Mhm.
plate, say, well, you haven't asked me about Pavam, I think.
Are you still betrothed?
She shakes her head. I talked with him recently, well, twice, to figure out our situation because we didn't exactly have a say in it, and a lot has changed, especially with me. And he is devoted to being a knight. He said that life has changed and we've changed, and that was a sign to me that it's not happening, which I'm fine with. I just wanted to make sure so that there wasn't confusion and no one's waiting. So I just wanted to air that out. And yeah.
Okay. All right. Nerd Cyrus battling with person Cyrus. Okay. For important reasons, Nerd Cyrus wins for the moment. And doing his best to be gentle and no, I won't quite say affectionate. He'll say, the original betrothal was a bond agreed upon by the Tosaka and Odinaru families. Do they know that the betrothal's off?
Um, they haven't asked about it. They haven't pushed anything. And we've been all just taking it day by day. But they've been listening to me and everything I've wanted. And if I said I didn't want this, I think they would listen. And I don't feel like the relationship between our two groups would be hurt by this. I think the circumstances have changed quite a bit. But if you really believed in that whole promise, why would you take me out on a date and kiss me?
Roll an insight check with advantage, please. I can't pretend to know what our God wants or what our leaders want or what the families want. I just know what I want. And he looks right at you.
She smiles, and I can't keep living in a life that is no longer mine, in a past that is is gone. And I'm not the person that I was before, and I like who I am now, and I like the now that's with you.
I like who you are now, too. And he leans in closer.
And she like puts a finger on his mouth, or just like in front of his face for a second, and I had something planned for you too. Um, I didn't have a chance to do the preparations, but I like the spontaneous. awkwardness of this. Um, do you want to clean this up? Can we leave this for a few minutes?
Hold on, let me check his spell list real quick. He glances over, like he kind of pulls back. He stops when you put your finger up, and then he pulls back curiously when you say you have something for him. And then he switches to alchemist mode as he looks over at the setup that he has. And he sort of like looks underneath the pots that are wrapped up at the alchemical like little sternos that he had set up, and the fly repellent and all the different things that he put down around there to get everything set up. And then he'll, yeah, it can wait.
Okay. And takes his hand, and I don't actually know the precise location of this.
That's fine. Garnet knows.
So it's kind of given away by saying it, but she's gonna take him to the auditorium, the room where the green gala was.
Okay, that's in the Great Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Another place from her past. Okay. He obviously recognizes the place. Did I write down where he... Nope, I didn't. Doesn't matter. Okay, yeah, he obviously recognizes the place. And by this point, the last light of the sun is flickering over the horizon.
So is the room like dark or whatever? Or is it...
It's like dim light.
Okay. She'll probably like guide him in, like using, taking his hand, guiding him in, and then using like her shutters and clouds spell to kind of change the lighting to be like a nice romantic lighting. I know I can't change like the color of the light, but more just the right lighting. And we'll use a minor illusion, which has no vocal, no somatic, so just music starts playing like out of nowhere, sort of around them softly, and she'll kind of like and kind of stand across from him and like wait for like seemingly an invitation to dance.
All right. Our boy is quick on the uptake, and you can see his face lighting up, sort of this disbelief, this, holy crap, the prom queen asked me to the prom. Be cool, be cool, be cool. And he'll immediately ask you to dance.
Yeah. And she kind of joyfully walks over and takes his hands, and like as they start dancing would say, one of the biggest regrets I had at the school was not having a good date to the green gala, and I think I asked the wrong person. And she kind of grins at him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's tickled pink. He's a little bit. No, wrist check. Yeah, a little bit. Because he had just found out. Oh no, because you did that whole Zaylarian Bronton performance that night, and that's when he like saw you for the first time. And he absolutely is in the same space as you, as like, this is fixing history in his head. And it is a delight he did not expect at all. And he is an excellent dancer.
Let's go. And the music will be like anything from your, traditional ballroom to like maybe sort of at the end of the dance, it goes to like a nice slow dance and like a romantic one, not your cringy high school like hands on the hips, whatever.
Leave room for the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. And as like the slow dance happens, she'll like lean and put her head on her chest and just kind of hold them close and like like a very intimate dance.
Give me an insight check with advantage. 19. From there, you can feel and hear his heart going nuts. But he holds you close and reciprocates the entire time. He's not being awkward about it. You can just tell that he's, elated and trying not to be a teenage boy about it.
And we'll let him do whatever. Like now that we're
Mm-hmm.
closing out, he can take charge. He'll just kind of the minor illusion will slowly go away after a few
Mm-hmm.
dances and hold his hands after.
He, as the music goes to the end, he is going to go in for a kiss.
Kisses back.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll like nerd out about it and she'll be like, I didn't prepare any of this, but I did learn how to do minor illusion without my hands or my mouth. So like I think that's pretty cool. I haven't seen anyone else be able to do that. And she'll like nerd out about like, oh, and that spell was like it's called Shutters and Clouds. It messes with the lighting and it's kind of useless, but it was great for now.
And like he is clearly like his cheeks are red and his pupils are wide from all of that, and then you start talking about that and he just goes right into, so how is the spell matrix different if you're not doing any somatic or vocal anchors? Like just immediately it's the next step of how excited he is, rather than being like a record scratch. He just rolls right into that with you, because he'll say, you know, like he's familiar with how sorcerers are able to expend their own personal energy to make up for this. So is that the approach you do, or is this something different? And yeah, he nergages out with you.
He goes to like explain like
Mm-hmm.
the more how just innate those spells, or at least the minor illusion became, because I think it's like a
Mm-hmm.
class feature
Mm-hmm.
that just makes it so those things are like super well known, so much so that those things aren't needed. Um, and then like once they're done like nerding out about stuff, she'll kind of like open the floor again, like,
Mm-hmm.
you okay? Any more questions from the class? This is my last time giving you the floor to ask anything, and you're just gonna get an answer. This is not a test, but I'm not gonna tell you what to ask. If you want to connect with me, this is the time. I get really busy, so I'm just want to make sure that you're open with me.
All right. DM thinking, and also has an enormous backlog of just absolute shit Chad is trying to dump on us, which I will hold back until the moment is right.
Do you want me to like give you like talk about the vibe of that, or is that too many hints?
No, no. Well, actually, hold on. Hints are good. I got a 17 on insight, so yes.
She feels like she probably like trauma dumped a lot on Cyrus when she crashed into his room, kind of
Mm-hmm.
showed some of like signs of the void corruption, asked for the potion, which she didn't ask like really what it's
Mm-hmm.
for or like anything more about that.
Then my
Didn't ask
instinct was
about
correct.
the injuries, didn't ask about like the missions and why is she being used? Why is she dealing with the Archmage so closely? I don't know if he
Mm-hmm.
has noticed any I don't think shadow powers have really come out in front of him, but if he
Mm-hmm.
heard whispers from like the Ruby from like the Codex tournament
Mm-hmm.
to whatever the fuck, if he's wondering about why she disappeared, like he just hasn't asked like anything that she thinks is like would be normal to ask. But she's a very investigative person, so
Right. Okay, then my instinct was correct. What happened to you while you were missing? When you vanished?
and she's like, "Oh, yes, like the real deep one." Um, well, when we were attacked, I thought I was saved by a certain dragon called Orn, but he wasn't a dragon, he was a person. And I thought he was helping me, but he sort of manipulated me into hating a lot of things. And I dare not speak badly about him now, but he made me regret all of my beliefs. and that no one was looking for me, and that no one cared about me, and la 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 la. And so didn't really seek out healing powers during this time. It was more powers of harm. And I really did and sometimes do want to harm people out of hatred, but eventually someone did come to look for me, but I thought we were just getting attacked by more machines or something, and then I got sent here where Master Archmage L now is was his former student, I guess. And so she's been tasked to take care of me and teach me things until I figured out that, well, that was Brontha looking for me. But everything is kind of smoothed over. But yeah, long story is short, I'm fine. It's just a lot of healing from that has to happen.
Give me another one of those advantaged insight checks, please. I'm going to tell you something. I'm just going to color this based on, okay, a 22. Cyrus.exe has stopped functioning, has encountered a fatal error. And it is not, you got a 22 on your insight. This is not him being horrified with you. This is not him pulling away from you at all. You see, Cyrus was in the priesthood, and he is an alchemist. He's very smart. He's very educated. When you said Orn, he knew who you were talking about. And this is a world-altering revelation in his head. So he's going to pause for a moment. The man who taught you, who lied to you. Orn?
Yeah, I didn't find out that was him until he came back and we killed him.
That's a BSOD. That is a Cyrus blue screen of death. Control Alt Delete.
It was mostly the Archmage and the Sage and the teachers. He's very bad. He did horrible things, did horrible things, and I really regret. I do feel partially responsible because I didn't think Taylor cared or loved us because he had reached out to my father and set up all these great things to save us before, and then he let my dad die and then let me in this situation. It felt like Taylor could have taken control but chose to put me in that situation. So I held a lot of resentment for a while until I kind of, Zaylar got in touch again and whatever. It's all in the past. This is a lot, but I'm glad you asked.
Wow. Can I ask you a really dumb question?
Okay.
Are you okay?
Blinks. uh, it's we take it day by day, and matters is I'm okay around you, and you make sure I'm okay. I I like being this idea in your head of someone perfect and deserving of this high respect and who is so great. And not a lot of people see me like that as much anymore. Because I've done some pretty horrible things to protect people and to some sort of manipulated or push these ideas pushed onto me, or in some that I've chosen by my own hand, and that was already a lot to tell you. And I just don't want to ruin that image of me in your head. Because when I told Pavam, I think that ruined his image of me in his head, and maybe why we are no longer betrothed in his head, unofficially, I guess.
He's obviously lost in thought for a moment. And then he pulls himself back out of it by, if you're not already in contact at all, he's gonna reach for both of your hands.
She's like looking down at the floor, but just like holds out her hands.
And he will say earnestly and sincerely, I think being who you are now, despite all of that, just makes you more incredible.
She smiles and she doesn't really believe him because she has definitely not said nearly just the tip of the iceberg of shit that's gone down. But she doesn't want to tell him because it's like she feels like that whole, she tried to do that with Pavam just to like see how a true Bronson would react, and the fact that they kind of, in her eyes, they went south was like sort of a test of, yeah, Bronsons wouldn't really accept this shit no matter how much they like her. And that was like the true test, because that's like Pavam was like the childhood best friend.
Right.
So the fact that that didn't work out, she doesn't want to even, she already feels like she said too much about even not trusting in Zayla. She feels like she blurred there. So it was like, you could probably tell in her face that she's content with what he said, and is always trying to like quickly shift the topic when like things get kind of down, because she's like, oh, it's date mode, we gotta do this. And he'll like, as he's like grabbing her hand, she'll like put him up, and then she'll do like a twirl while he's like holding her just to like distract him and quickly from the weird mood.
All right. He goes along with it, and he tells you, okay, one more question.
Okay.
What are you doing tomorrow night?
Nothing now.
Great. I lied. One other question.
Okay.
Do you think, would you like to come back here? Not here. I mean, yes, sure, here. But I mean, here. You said you're really busy all of the time and don't always have space to be open like this. And I would like to come back to this place.
Is he meaning like the location, or like
He's
this
being metaphorical.
space?
This space, yeah.
And I guess this is like, in her mind, this is like heading into a more serious connection than she thought could happen. Not that she didn't want to, I guess she doesn't know what she wants. It's typical teenager shit.
That was the other question he didn't ask, is what you want.
I think if I told you everything, It would be too much, and I think living outside of reality has been what I like about being around you. As long as when reality does hit that whatever happens, you'll still respect me after.
I will. Promise.
She's trying to like think about like what is the future? Like how would you go about talking about future stuff with somebody? Like she doesn't first relationship, so she's like,
Mm-hmm.
what are we? But that's such a weird question to ask. So she just uh snaps the lights back on and starts just as he's holding her hands, just turns around and kind of leads him out of the room again, just doesn't like dead air and
Mm.
just kind of starts leading him back to wherever he wants to go. But doesn't really say
Okay.
much.
Well, he'll offer to escort you back home.
She agrees and follows
Mm.
along and holding his arm like the usual way.
Mm. And he's probably a little bit quieter along the way back, but he's not like upset or, he's just got a lot of not mixed messages, but highs and heavies at the same time. But all that being said and done, he will absolutely, if you'll allow it, kiss you goodnight when he gets back to your place.
And she'll kiss him and smiles and
Mm-hmm.
let me know if you get any progress on that potion I asked for. I know it's a complicated one. Happy to provide any gold if you need any special ingredients.
It had actually completely escaped him. He was so lost on the date that he'd completely forgotten about that. But it comes
Okay.
right back. It comes right back to him. He immediately remembers, and he'll assure you, no, there shouldn't be any gold needed. I should be able to get everything that I need from the academy, and he'll keep you posted on it.
And what was that? What's that one you gave me before I left? Oh, it just had a weird effect on me. She kind of is like deep in thought and then kind of like goes back towards his face and says, I think it was a love potion, wasn't it?" And she just kisses him again.
He's about to protest because that would absolutely be immoral on his part. But then he shuts the fuck up before he gets a chance to say anything because he'd much rather be kissing you.
And then, okay, good night. Just goes inside the room.
He's
Unless he says
clearly
anything
less
else.
flippant about it and a little bit more swooning. But you shut the door. He bids you good night, and the rest of the night is yours. But barring anything immediate, it's going to have to wait until after the break when apparently all hell is going to break loose, and we'll have to deal with
Shit.
that. Don't go anywhere, folks. More Book of Dawn, IOTH Academy shortly.